What's up, boys? It's Nick from Team Table 501 here. I'm the king of the scrubs, and today I'm going to bring you my post-Detroit Regional Salamangreat deck profile. This is the list that I played in the event. The event did not go super well for me. Went 2-3, but there isn't really much you can do about that. I had my deck built specifically to beat combo, because in a blind meta game like this, you can't really play a reactive deck. So I expected a lot more Orcus and Thunder Dragon, although I did. I played against Striker 3 times, and those were my 3 losses, but I did beat both the combo decks I played against, so I guess my theory was fine there. My build was pretty soft to Striker, that's why I had extra side deck hate for it, but I just didn't draw my side deck cards. I think I played pretty poorly in one of my matches as well, but that's not really the point here. But this was the list I played. I wanted to show you guys it, and some things I might change about in the future. As always, link to the list is in the description down below, so if you just want the deck list, it's there. Also, go follow me and friend me on Facebook and Twitter. I post the cool shit. And without further ado, let's just get into this fucking deck list. So, like I said, this was the list I played at the regional this weekend. I think the list was still fine. There might be a couple things I change about it. I'm not entirely sure, though. But to start off, we got the one Gazelle, Rip the Boy. 3 spinny. This is just like the best card to draw, really, in your opener. So that way you can try to full combo your opponent. Then 3 non-prismatic Foxy, because I couldn't get them before the regional. Massive, massive Tilt. And then something I never thought I'd be saying in a deck profile like this. I'm playing 2 Salamangreat Jack Jaguar. The reason for this, I'll explain in the spell card lineup, but part of it is that I want to draw this card with Signet Mining like every game. And those are the starts that like win you the game majority of the time, because it gives you a rank 4 and a trap, because it just gives you more resources to work with. So opening this card with mining isn't that bad. And even if you draw this card, you can discard to Foxy and Buffalo and a bunch and like Phoenix and stuff, so you can get it out of your hand if you need to. And like the fact that this is a beater is relevant too. Like in some matchups, you can just summon it and inflicts piercing damage. You can have Heat Leo change its attack and then just like attack over stuff. Then 1 Falco. I've been super unimpressed with Fowls of late, which is why the second Jack is in the deck. But this card's still really good for resetting your traps, getting Will back, summoning itself from graveyard. Then 3 Flam Buffalo. This card's just insane. Pot of Greed in your deck is really good, so you should probably play Pot of Greed, especially when it's searchable. And then my extender of choice was Backup Secretary. I thought about playing cards like Reclusia, Sea Archiver, and the Dangers, but my problem with Sea Archiver was that it was only working when you were winning, same with Reclusia, and the Dangers just were too random for my liking, even though they were very powerful. So Secretary was just like the nice middle ground where it's always just going to be your extender, and it works well with itself as well, just being able to go normal Secretary, Special Secretary, Mirage Dalio, attempt to combo. So this card was very good for me. And then for hand traps, I played 3 Ash, 2 Ogre, 3 Veiler. I didn't want to overload on hand traps because they don't do anything going first, and this is a going first deck. But I still needed cards to be able to stop my opponent from interacting. Ash was the MVP all weekend. This card, I kept getting it back with Sunlight Wolf like every game. Ogre was pretty mediocre. That's because I played against Orcust. Doesn't really do anything in that matchup unless you're able to hit Mermaid. Veiler was pretty as well, but I would still run these 8 hand traps again. That does it for the monsters. I want to say they're 24. On to the spells. 3 mining. This card just needs to resolve for you to win. If this gets ashed, you lose. Like, it happened to me 2 games in a row where my striker opponent ashed this, and this was my last card, and that pretty much lost me the game. Because any top deck they have pretty much wins them the game. But if you're able to mining with Call by the Grave, then the game's over. And then the 1 Circle, 1 Sanctuary, 1 Will. I thought about not playing Will today because it was pretty underwhelming in testing, but with the amount of Ogre's not seeing as much play, and this card still just is another extender, and the deck was lacking extender, so I decided to play it. It was like fine. Didn't do anything super special. And then I got this from Jesus Barrios' top 32 list from the YCS. 3 copies of Pot of Desires. This card was like the nut all weekend. This card just did so much work. Being able to help you dig for your super impactful cards, both in Game 1 and Games 2 and 3, was super good. And once you full combo, you don't really care about what you banish as long as you're strong into hand traps and ways to interact with your opponent. Like, I should have just been playing this card from the very beginning. This card was insane. And then because I expected there to be a million combo players at the tournament, I main decked 3 Super Polymerization. This was probably the worst card in my deck all weekend. I only resolved it once, and the game that I resolved it, I was going to win anyway because I had Sunlight Wolf Dweller, Trap, and this. So, like, the game just didn't really matter. My opponent was not winning. But I played against Striker 3 times, and this card's absolutely dead against Sky Striker. But I accepted that going into this tournament, whereas, like, against decks like Thunder and Orcust and Pendulum Magician, if you super poly at the right time, you just win the game. So, the card's just, like, very, very busted. You could argue they could have been Nibiru's. That's something I want to try out as main deck Nibiru. but I'm not entirely sure. Then 3 Call by the Grave, because you need your mining to resolve. You need the Stalio to resolve. Then for traps, I played 1 Roar and 1 Rage. These are pretty simple. Hurt Firelake's a good card, so that's 40 main. I'm pretty happy with the main deck, actually. There isn't too much I would change about it. The only thing I might change is I might try out like Reclusia or something over this, and I might cut the Will for something. I'm not entirely sure, just to try a Will-less build of the deck. You can always just cut the second Jack Jaguar if you like as well, but the second Jack Jaguar has actually been pretty good for me in testing. So I'm going to keep it for now, even though I really don't like having to play 2 of that card, because it's just a brick if you don't draw other combo pieces. Whoops. Where are my other field centers? Oh, whatever, I'll find them. Oh, there it is. It's in the side deck. Anyway, for the extra deck, we got some field centers. And then 3 Balinks, 3 Sunlight Wolf, 2 Heatleo, just your stock 8 Salamangreat cards that you have to play in every extra deck. Heatleo is your win condition, actually, because you can have this guy change your monster's attack or lower your opponent's monster's attack, so you're able to like push through damage. My apologies, guys. For the rest of the extra deck, there are 1 Hida, 1 Phoenix, 1 Borreload. I was playing Unicorn for a while, but I couldn't make room for Unicorn in this deck because I decided to main deck the Super Poly, so I needed the extra deck room for the Fusions. And these cards are also like really, really good. So that's it for that. For the Xyz monsters, the 1 Stalio. I don't think you need 2 of this card. If you're playing the deck correctly, and because of second Jack, you can usually get away with 1 of this card. You have enough ways to recycle it, and you only really need to resolve this once or twice to win the game. If we're going farther than that, then like you've lost, I think. Baguska. I'm not playing Dweller. I think this card's more impactful than Dweller because a lot of the Orcus decks are going away from their graveyard and going towards just like better generic going second cards like Shaddoll Fusion, Pankratops, Itzy Fusion. Some people are playing Cyber Dragon cards in the deck now, so this card's just a lot better against that. And even if you don't know what you're up against, just making this, it could be a threat against your opponent. Worst comes to worst, you know the matchup and you know what mode to put this in. And even if you put it in defense mode against like Striker, they still have to deal with it because there's a monster on your board. And if they don't, then you switch it to attack mode on your next turn. Now it just like attacks for 21 every turn and they can't do anything about it. And then for the Super Polymerization targets, Salamangreat, Violet Chimera, and Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I really wish I could have played a Mud Dragon in the Swamp as well, but there really is just no room in the extra deck. And these 2 are just kind of like mandatory. I didn't get to play a single mirror, so Violet Chimera never got summoned. And then on to my side, 3 Droll. This was mostly for Pendulum, but it also is fine against like Danger Thunder and stuff. But I think the Danger Thunder matchup's actually is already fine as it is. You have the 3 main deck Super Polymerization and the hand traps. So this is mostly here for Pendulum Magician because I think my build is a little bit lacking in hate for that deck going second. And Super Poly can be alive against them, but not really often because they can usually just end on 1 Dark Monster, that being a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and then you can't Super Poly them. So... but I never got to side it in, so I don't know. Lancia, this card's just generically good. Yeah, there isn't really much to say about that. This card's just like very, very good in this format. Just being able to stop the Orcus player from full comboing you, and stopping Danger Thunder. And then I played 2 Pankratops. Did not have the room for a 3rd, unfortunately, but yeah, this card was fine today. Like, being able to just like drop it, threaten my opponent's relevant card, and get in for damage. For spells, I played 3 Twin. This is just like the best side deck removal we have in the format. And like I said, my deck was very lacking in hate for Striker and for Pendulum, so I side decked 3 Anti-Spell and an Imperial Order. Like, I went into this event thinking that if I go first against Striker and I draw one of like these 7 cards, I win the game. But it really came down to whether or not I drew Twin. These cards were almost irrelevant against Striker because they have enough ways of just getting them off the board. It's really like this. Like, Twin and Order are like the 4 cards that actually beat Striker. Anti-Spell's good, but I don't think it's good enough against Striker by itself unless you're able to apply pressure via Heatleo or like just recycling Ash every turn off your Sunlight Wolf. That's actually how you beat the Striker matchup, by the way. Is you just like keep summoning Spinny and Jack Jaguar into zones that Sunlight Wolf points you, and you just keep adding back your Ash and Ashing the Engage every turn, because that's how they're going to try to pull ahead. Like, interact with the multi-roll, interact with the Engage, and you should be able to be fine. But, like, yeah, these 7 cards were, like, my Pendulum hate, my Striker hate, and it just, like, didn't do enough. Granted, in most of my games, I never drew them, but in the games that I did draw them, my opponent was like, okay, I'm just going to ignore it and just, like, kill you. Like, Hayate gets around this card really well, because then they can just, like, send the Afterburner, And even if they have to set it a turn, you have no way of removing it outside of like your extra deck. Like you do, like your extra deck has a fair amount of ways of removing it between Salamangreat, Heat Leo, and Phoenix, but like Foxy can't touch it, and Rage is very situational because most of the time they're going to Widow Anchor you to get your monsters off board. So, like I said, I'm not entirely sure. This is probably the most like questionable thing. Like these cards probably aren't supposed to be here. These should probably just be evenly matches because that card just wins games going second. But I wanted to have more striker hate. Or what you could do is like cut an anti-spell for the third Pancratops if you just like need a more generic side deck card for going second. That's also just a fine inclusion to make. But that is going to do it for my Salamangreat deck profile for the post-Detroit Regional. Like I said, the event didn't go super well for me. Like I built my deck in a very specific way, and it just didn't work this weekend. What I noticed was that a lot of players were choosing the blind second with all of their decks, whether it was combo or control, so that they could just like blow out their opponent with evenly matched Nibiru and Dark Ruler and all these other cards. So I was trying to build my deck in a way that could both go first and go second without having super dead cards in either situation. And it just like I just ran into the wrong matchups, I think. I think if I would have played against Thunder like more than 0, I think my deck would have done fine. I think my deck is built in a way that can easily beat the Thunder deck. And against Striker, like it's just a really grindy matchup. You have to know when to concede. Because like even if you're not out of the game, like your life points aren't at 0 and your opponent doesn't have cards, if they're just like cycling their links every turn and getting like Shizukuing and Raying, the game is over. Like that's when you scoop it up and go to game 2, so that you have times to play game 2 and 3. Because that's the thing is, a lot of times today I would end game 1 with like 4 minutes on the clock, so I'd have to concede super early. Like sometimes I would just draw my opening hand, see that I don't have a salad. My opponent would do like 2 things, and I would say, let's go to game 3. Like you just need the time to play your games. But that's besides the point here. So that is going to do it for my deck profile, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave what you think about the deck in the comment section down below. Let me know what you would change. What are you thinking about doing at your upcoming regionals, etc. Like, even though competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like kind of over for me because there isn't really like a major event for me to go to, I'm still excited to just mess around with this deck, see what I can do with it. Maybe I'll take it to another event and get my invite. Who knows? But anyway, like I said, follow me on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. I post cool shit. All that will be in the description. Again, thank you guys so much for sticking with me. My name is Nick from Team Table 501, and get good, scrubs. I'll see you next time.